Hello and welcome to Burning Questions. Once again, I say this every week, technical difficulties left, right and centre, but we've overcome them. We're only 17 minutes late here, but we're ready to go. We've got three big guests. We've got racing. We're going to attack racing at Melton and also up in Sydney at Menangle. Welcoming back Andy Gath after a week off last week. Andy, great to have you on board. You're not in Bacchus Marsh. Where are you this time?
Currently in Campbelltown, which is right next door to Menangle. So a bit warm here today, but it's a bit warmer down in Victoria apparently.
Staying in that 5-star Ridges Lodge, no doubt. Another person up in Sydney at the moment is Mattie Craven. Mattie, great to have you back on Burning Questions, brother.
Good to be on, brother.
And the man that did hold us up, James Herbertson. Last time I saw you, Herb, you were in a car. You were in that exact position. You might have been laying back a bit further, but how you going today? You're looking a bit better than when I last saw you.
Yeah, no, a bit better today, a bit warmer, and haven't got Jabe on next to me whinging about the cold either. So, no, much better.
Extraordinary. We'll leave that story right there. Right, let's get stuck into Burning Questions. 4 big questions, and we'll start with the first of our live reads, our sponsorship reads. Pride's Easy Feed, a great supporter of Burning Questions. Pride's Easy Feed stand as a proud supporter of the harness racing industry with their set recipes and quality ingredients to give the trainer confidence in what they're feeding. So make the switch to Pride's and start getting the result you've been chasing. The first question goes straight to you, Herbie. Will the Dominator live up to his name in an intriguing fast-class pace at Melton on Saturday night? Of course, we're talking about Supreme Dominator, trained by Joe Pace. You were back in the sulky last Saturday night, and he hit the line really good. Can he win this week?
Yeah, look, last week he was superb. Just drove him cold and came with one run. Luckily, the middle half was running about 55, and it sort of set it up for him perfectly. But he needed the run, and he still went really well. So we'll just go back again this week, and it'll all be down to tempo. And if he can get into the race, I'm sure he'll be savaging the line late.
Andy, I might get you to do the next live read because I heard one of your videos today, and you're good at throwing the sponsors' names in there. So we might get you to do the next one. But this is a good little race. This one we've got. I'll quickly whip through the field. Jillaby, Dynamite, Rick Riley, Can't Top This, Let's Rock, Let's Roll, Supreme Dominator, Triple Eight, Bernie Winkle, Cranbourne, Drawn Barrier 8, and Bulletproof Boy, last week's winner. Is it Supreme Dominator's race or Cranbourne's race or someone else's?
Yeah, no, it's a pretty even race. Bit of a nothing draw for Herbie's drive. As he said, he probably just go back at the start and rely on tempo. But he was terrific first up, hit the line really good. So, yeah, obviously Cranbourne was good last up when he won. The back row draw is going to be a little bit awkward for him, but it's a wide open race. And, yeah, probably just going to get down to luck in running, I'd say. He's probably going to be the winner, but there's probably 4 or 5 good winning chances and probably haven't done enough for him to be tipping who'd be winning at this stage.
It's a bit of a trick race, Matty. You know a lot about all these horses. You're not involved, obviously, in the race on Saturday night, but what do you make of Supreme Dominator? He's a lovely horse. Can he win on Saturday night, or would you look elsewhere from a punting point of view? Maybe a horse like Cranbourne, who's going to head north after this run and chase a start in the Miracle Mile qualifiers.
Look, it'd be really, really interesting, and we've got a scratching. It's probably a key to the race now that Jillaby Dynamite comes out, so might change the context of the race after that, and he might find himself 3 fence rather than behind the leader, which, when you looked at it initially, you would have thought Cranbourne would be sitting in the ideal spot. But Herbie might find himself 1-1 now and be pretty hard to beat. His trials in the lead up to his last run were sort of, nothing special, but his first up run was pretty good. And, he might find himself on the back of maybe Triple Eight if it works out how I see it. And if that's the case, I think it'd be pretty hard to hold out.
Any news on? Can we break any news about Jillaby Dynamite, boys? There's a few whispers around. Who's willing to put their name to it?
Well, I'm just looking at the field, and it's a scratching. So,
we must have just updated. Are you going to give us, enlighten us, Andy, or not?
Oh, I just heard it's been sold to America, so whether that's true or not, but but I did hear it was going to come out because it's been sold to America. So, that may be the case, might not be the case. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, your byline's going on that one. I'll stay right out of that. No, that's interesting scratching from Saturday night. We'll move on to question 2, boys. This one goes to you, Andy. And this is very similar to last week's question. Outlaw Man is a winning machine, but we've got to ask again, is the picket fence set to end? He's going to 7 straight wins. This has got to be one of the more shrewd buys of your career. This has been a beauty.
Yeah, no, he's a horse that's sort of done a lot more than what we expect him to do, and he's just been fortunate that he come over here as the 50 rater, and each time he steps up a class, he gets the opportunity, keeps drawing good as well. So I think he'll lead again. This is by far his hardest test. There's some pretty good horses in this. Been over the short, and he's going to be in front. He's still going to be pretty hard to beat. He never looked really that impressive, but when they sort of come at him, he sort of goes with him, and since he's been there, he keeps working better and better as well. So I still think he's on the way up, and he has to be. Horse is going to be in front of Melton over 1700. Still going to be the one to beat, I'd say.
Have you been able to, from where I sit, I was talking to one of the owners, Darren Carroll, it's been hard to get a real guide on how good he is because he's found the front, been able to control races, probably hasn't copped a lot of pressure and been able to win them nicely. Have you been able to draw a line on him at home more so than on the racetrack?
Just in his work, he has improved a fair bit. So, yeah, for a horse that's won 6 in a row, he's very unimpressive in a lot of those wins, but he still gets the job done, and it's very hard to win 6 in a row anyway, let alone Victoria, the last 3 Metro races. But I've been pretty pleased with him. He keeps stepping up to the plate, and again, it's going to be another opportunity for him to win again on Saturday night.
He would have paid for himself, wouldn't he, by now?
Yeah, he's well and truly paid for himself. It's all profit from here on.
That's the way you want him. Matty, he's been a great buy. Outlaw Man, he draws barrier 2. He's a $2 favourite. Andy says this is his biggest test to date. Can he win again and make it 7 in a row?
Yeah, I think he will. We come up against him last week and we felt our only chance to beat him was to be able to cross him, and we weren't capable of that. And he's just one of those horses that's testament to how good Andy is as a trainer. He just places his horses so well, and he's done that with this horse to the absolute T, and it's a credit to Andy and the way he goes about things. And I think he'll win again.
Herbie, I need you to come with me here. I think he'll get beat. Can he get beat, Outlaw Man, or not?
No, well, I was actually going to say what Matthew said. It's a credit to Andrew and how he's placed the horse. The horse is always drawn well. And, if the draws hadn't been in his favour, he probably wouldn't have won 6 in a row. But it just comes down to placing your horse right and getting him in the right races. And, he's got the jockeys from it. So I thought he was a chance of getting beat last week, just sitting on the sidelines. And, as he said, he wasn't that impressive. Like, he only went 2-9 off the back, and they dashed up in a 27 apiece. But he didn't really pull away from him as I sort of expected him to after the run he got in front. But if his horse just does what he has to do, well, there's no real limit to his ability just yet until he gets beat. So, I think he'll be holding up early, and if there's something that really outsprints him late, well, that's probably the only thing. But it's hard to find something in that race that can do that.
Well summarised. Let's move on to the third question. And the second of our sponsors, Falvo Fruits. The Falvo family have thoroughly enjoyed their short time in harness racing as owners and would like to thank all the trainers across Australia who have trained for them. A very special thank you to Alex and Taylor from Ashwood Racing, who have done a fantastic job for them. And I look forward to many more successful years together. And for everyone else, including all us here, remember that eating grapes is good for you. I don't know about that last line. I might have a word to him about that one. Let's move on to the third question, and I'll start with you, Herbie. The Tapes get a rare go on Saturday night at headquarters, so who'll handle them best and prevail in a tricky trot? You've got the drive on Victory Hill. I think, looking back at the form, that's your first go on this runner. How do you see the race panning out? It's a nice little stand-start trot.
Yeah, it's a good little field, and it's good to see a trot over the long at Melton. From a standing start, it's something different for the horses and something different for the drivers. So, tricky is probably the right word to use, as you said about the race. He seems like quite a tricky horse. Glennie gave me a bit of a rundown on him yesterday, and he's got his little quirks, and that he's definitely got the ability, but he's a little bit of a handful. So I'll have my work cut out trying to get him away and keeping him trotting. But his Hamilton Cup form says he's in with a chance. He got last start, but there was a couple of reasons for that, so he just sort of wiped that one off. But the way he went in the Hamilton Cup after doing quite a bit of work through the middle and still only getting beaten a couple of metres by Kiang Lavana was solid enough. She's actually off the same sort of handicap in that race as well. In the Hamilton Cup, she was off 40, she's off 30 in that race, and he was off 10, and in that race he's off the front. So, she's no sort of further back on him. He hasn't got much of a upper hand on her coming into that race. But you got Majestic Man as well, who's a class horse. I thought he was a bit plain last week after the run he had in front. He was the first horse beaten, and just don't know whether the racing that he's had since he's been is sort of caught up with him, but he needs to improve off that run to win that race, I think.
Yeah, Matty, how do you say this race? As we said, it's a tricky little race. The stand start at Melton, we don't see him very often, and it's good to have him back. Can Herbie win with Victory Hill? Is it Majestic Man's race, or is it another one that's going to bob up at a price?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting race, and as a trainer, it's nice to see these races on the program, and be nice if we could have a few more of them, especially over the longer journey, because a lot of these horses are hard to place when they get down in grade, but a lot of these horses are all very good from the stands, and I note that Victory Hill did trial a terrain against one of mine who qualified the other day, and he stepped nicely, so I'm sure Herbie will get him round pretty good. But I think for this group of bunch of horses, I think they've had probably about 160 stands between them, and about 41 wins, 28 places, and 28 seconds, and 21 thirds. So they're all pretty good from the stand, this lot. And the front line, they've had 46 starts from the stand, and 18 wins, and 7 seconds, and 2 thirds. So it's, as it reads on paper, it's a very even sort of race. And my sort of tip for the race might be one that's a little bit out of the box, but over and out, he's pretty good away, and he might be pretty hard to run down, and I might make him me best bet of the night as well.
We've thrown it in earlier. $21 if you don't mind. Andy, Majestic Man's a $2.10 favourite. He's the class runner. I'm probably in the same boat as her, but just his last couple, maybe is these recent starts here in Australia caught up with him a little bit, or is he going to be too good? He's a $2.10 favourite. Is he too short, or do you back him at $2.10?
Yeah, I'd probably be risking him at $2.10, especially off 30 metres. He's got a pretty good standing start record, but as Matty said, every horse in this race has a really good standing start record, especially the pole horse. Haven't got as many stats as you, Matt, but I know the pole horse had 6 stands for 5 wins.
Serious stat work.
Yes. He's found more free time up in Sydney than I have anyway, I know that. But he's a funny horse, Majestic Man. When he's in the zone, when he's out of form, I think he's out of form. So I'd be risking him. It's hard to see him bounce back within 7 days. So, it's a tricky race, and you can throw a dart at all of them and they'll have a chance of winning, I'd say. So I'm not really having to pick in the race, but none of them are ODS. They all step away good, and it's going to be a great race to watch.
It's probably the highlight on the card, to be honest. That's 3 questions down. We've saved the best till last. I know there'll probably be a few people that'll skip straight to this one because we want to talk about this big race in Sydney. It's the Cordina Chicken Farms Chariots of Fire, isn't it, Andy? Just before we get into it. And a good supporter of yours, no doubt. The question is, I'm going to start with you, Herbie, because you haven't got a dog in this fight, and then we'll go to the other boys. Can the captain, that's Captain Ravishing, be crossed in the Chariots? And more importantly, can he be beaten? When the barrier draw came out and I saw Captain Ravishing Gate 1, I thought the commentary on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere would have been great. An awesome race ruined by a barrier draw. The favourite's going to be $1.10 and he's impossible to beat. It's been quite the opposite. Everyone's saying how he can get crossed and he's going to be in trouble. How do you read this race?
Yeah, it's interesting. I really would like to have seen Catch a Wave draw 1 and Captain Ravishing draw where he's drawn. But it'll be interesting. He's known to bore up the track a little bit early, so I think Grant Dixon's got the 2 horse. So if he really holds a straight line and holds him down the track, he might be a chance of getting crossed in that first 50. But it's going to be quite interesting early. I think if he has to do it both ends with the long straight at Menangle, I think he's a chance of getting beat. But nothing's really got close to him yet when it's been on his terms. It'll be very interesting. I'm glad I'm sitting on the sidelines and I can watch, to be honest.
I'll just narrow it down to 2 questions. You get 2 words here. Will he be crossed at the start? Yes or no?
No.
And will he win the race?
Probably.
I didn't expect probably. Well done. You've expanded the vocabulary. Mattie Craven, you've got He's a Son of a Gun. I love the name of this horse, and I love his nature too. He's a ripper. So I've had some people pass on to me that you were pretty coy on the radio. I haven't actually heard the interview, but you were suggesting that you wouldn't cross him. But I'll ask you, can the captain be crossed in the Chariots? And more importantly, can he be beaten?
I would say, in my honest opinion, that he'll hold the front and he'll lead on his ear, if you ask me. You get a good run at it here at Menangle, and the gate's going pretty quick, and I'd say, we know how brilliant his speed is, and I'd say, he'll lead and lead for fun, in my honest opinion. And you go back to, I think, his third start or his second start, where we clashed against him with He's a Son of a Gun. We sat outside him in the Caduceus Classic, I think it was last year, and he was 2 and we were barrier 4, and he led pretty easy there. So I can't see it being any different.
And you crushed him, though, Matty. Absolutely crushed him.
Well, he hasn't looked back since then. He has not looked back
you
since
made him.
then. And, he's just a brilliant horse to watch. And, it's been unfortunate for Andy and a couple others to draw wide on the track. Could have really made for an intriguing race had they have drawn better, but you never know. It still, I think, will be a cracking race. But if everything went even and the captain leads and has it, as he likes, we mightn't see which way again.
Over to you, Andy. Can the well, I don't reveal private conversations. We've had a bit of a chat about it, and I'm going to let you answer this however you want. Can the captain be crossed in the Chariots? And more importantly, can he be beaten? You've got Catch a Wave in the race drawn out fairly wide. What are your thoughts?
Obviously, I think the only one that can cross him is Catch a Wave, and he's pretty quick out. We haven't used him off the arm the last few starts. So hopefully he remembers how to leave the gate. As Matty said, Captain Ravishing early on in his career had really good gate speed and he's a naturally fast horse. So it's unlikely that we could cross him. More unlikely that we'd probably beat him as well. But we'll definitely come out and have a crack and see what happens early.
So you will have a go?
Oh, there's no. I didn't come all the way up here.
Well, that was going to be my next comment. Yeah, you don't. It's been a fairly taxing trip for you on the road, and although I have seen your hotel room, it does look all right. So, what a great race this is! Just a quick one before we go to the best bets, Matty and Andy. Like it must be exciting to be in these races. Go to you first, Andy. Like this is what you're in it for: big races, hype, us talking about it. It's on radio all week. It's in the newspapers. There's a potential superstar there, but he's not invincible. You can beat him. It must be just great to be a part, and this is great for the sport.
Yeah, no, definitely. We all strive to be in these races. Been fortunate that I've won it before with Caribbean Blaster, and it'd be great to have another opportunity like I've got to win it again. And just going forward, it's great to have a horse like this for the Matthews family to hang their hat on, for Richard's legacy. So every time he races, we think of Richard and hopefully he can get the job done for him.
Great to be a part of this race, Matty.
Oh, it's exciting for everyone involved, and the stable especially, and for Pam and Tony who are great supporters of mine, to have bred the horse and raced the horse. It's really exciting just to be in these races, and that's why we train, and we want to be involved at this level, and you just hope that you can go there and be ultra competitive, and you just hope you're in the spot to capitalise if things go against the other ones. And the horse is happy and I'm happy, so it's all good.
You got 3 runners on the card before we go to best bets. Can you get a win with Credit Master and Crime Rider?
Yeah, well, Credit Master will obviously want to go a hell of a lot better than he did last week, but I think we just got to turn the page on that run. He's just a little bit out of character, but a few things just didn't go his way in the lead up. It was a very hot day, which we could get again on Saturday, which might be tough for him, but he's also subject to pre-race blood, and that's the case up here. They don't want you to, or they won't let you pre-race warm up, and old horse like that, he is a nervous horse as well, and it just didn't seem to suit him. And we'll just forget about last week, and he's been terrific all week. I've been really happy with him, and he hasn't given me any reason not to run him. So let's just hope he can put his best foot forward this week. And if he does, I think he'll run a good race on the way he seems. And Crime Rider will, he's not a death horse and just didn't work out last week, but he's come through that terrific. And if I can get him a nice trip, he'll be in the race, that's for sure.
Best bet for you, Matty. You've given us a little teaser. Are you sticking with it? What do you got for us?
I'll stick with Over and Out there in the trot. And if he jumps to the front and bowls them along, he might be hard to run down.
Well, you can host this show next week if you can get a $21. Shut up, mate. Andy, best bet for you. Is it one of yours? You're not going to go catch a wave, are you? Come on.
No, I don't want to moz him, but I moz one of the other ones, Outlaw Man. And it won't be my fault, it'll be Jordan Leedham's fault if he doesn't win. So those watch it. Your fault. You've been in charge of him all week, and you should lead and win. So don't let me down.
I was going to put his name in there, but I'm glad you did. You've put him on the radar. Herbie, have you got a best bet for us at Melton or Menangle or Moonee Valley Gallops tonight? Where do you want to go?
No, I'll steer clear of the Gallops. Got no idea about them. Look, I think if just trying to think of its name. There's one at Menangle in about the first race. If he doesn't get a run in the Chariots, I think he's well over the odds. Rip. He's drawn outside the front, but he's a class horse, and if they go hard early, he'll be hitting the line very strong late. So I'm pretty sure it's race 1 at Menangle. I was just flicking through before. TAB didn't
race
have
1,
any,
number 11. I reckon you're right. $4.20. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, Rip for you, Herbie. We're going head to head here, Andy. I've got a little bit more courage. I'm going with an $8.50 shot, but race 5, number 5, Finn Frost. I'm just pleading with someone to give Outlaw Man a bit of, or pester him in front. And I reckon Finn Frost is absolutely flying, and there's no doubt he's improved since he's left Georgia on Andy. So race 5, number 5, Finn Frost for me.
Wow.
I might edit that out. We'll see how I feel after the show. Thanks, boys. Great to have you on. I really appreciate it. Mattie Craven, James Herbertson, Andy Gath. That's been Burning Questions on February 17. Can't wait for a big weekend of racing. Melton and Menangle on Saturday night. We'll see you next week.